Howdy, soldiers. Oh my god, it's August. I think I spent July in a perpetual state of reading or studying, so I've read a lot of words lately, like a lot. I actually had to, for this video, go to my Goodreads and like see what I actually read, because I'm just like, what has happened this month? I don't know what's going on anymore. Conveniently, the link to my Goodreads is down below if you want to become my friend or just stalk what I'm reading or look at all the things that I forgot to add in this video. So busy lately, and I just want to have a nice, chill, sort of freak out July wrap-up video. The first book I want to talk about first because I posted a Instagram photo of it. What an aesthetic A+ cover design. That is Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. Do you see this cover? It's so nice. This story is a fantasy Mulan meets Project Runway, and like, yo, sign me the fuck up for that. I'm so down. And you know, I think it did a pretty good job of embodying those two very separate stories. It has some of my favorite tropes of a competition and a girl dressing as a boy to go into that competition, and then some fantastical elements and like going after things of legend that aren't really true because it's a suicide mission, but it's not, because we could actually pull this off with some magic. Like, yes, thank you very much. I will take 4. I'm docking points because I didn't feel the stakes were very high, even though they're like, we gotta do this stuff or we're gonna die. And I'm like, but like, are you? Like, are you though? Like, how dead is dying? So like 4 or 5 stars. Like, yeah, solid novel. And then another favorite, you knew it had to be in here somewhere because I freaked the freak out about this on social media, and that is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. Oh, it's like a sapphic survival horror, but also YA and LGBT people in it, and like, yeah, love me some bisexuals, but at the same time, I was like, how are we gonna work all those things together? There's a bunch of girls that were in this private school on an island, and then weird stuff happens, and everyone's mutating weirdly, and they quarantine the island, and the military's involved, and I don't know, is it science, is it magic? Like, I love that kind of thing, and I love me some survival horror as well, because then it was very like nature versus man, which I love because we get some creepy ass nature things in here. My speed. But I think what threw me off is that overall it was A, not as bloody, and B, not as competitive as I was expecting it to be. And the ending was a little weird to me because, if you don't mind very vague spoilers, it ends with one of those like, and then we sail into the beyond and who knows what's gonna happen. And I'm like, no. What you set up, you need to finish, Rory Power. So in that case, I'm docking it a couple marks. You know what this reminds me of? Okay, this reminds me of Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind. If you like Studio Ghibli, I would recommend this because that has a very similar feeling to it. Then I reread a series that I love, and I feel like this is cheating but not cheating because I recently got into audiobooks. So I reread the entire Raven Boys series by listening to it on Spotify. The person that narrates it is Will Patton, and he has the perfect voice, rolling, syrupy, southern Georgia accent, and he does the voices for everybody, which I think is really funny. Word nerds were all about this, and you need to listen to it, and I'm so glad I did because it just reminded me how much I love that series and like why I loved it in the first place. So maybe I will actually reread them again at some point, but listening to them was definitely the way to go. I was like in bed at 10 p.m. listening to the ending of Raven King, like sobbing my eyes out, like trying to embroider at the same time. It was a time, and it was a good time. I was here for it. And then a book that I thought was gonna make me cry but didn't is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. Again, Word Nerds recommended this one to me, being like, this is so good, Nina LaCour is amazing, like this book made me so emotional, and it was okay, I guess. This deals with a girl who has recently lost her grandfather, who she lived with after her mother died, and it kind of does that like before and after of an event, and it's talking about her really reconnecting with her old girlfriend who they broke off on bad terms before her grandfather died, and like great concept, very introspective, but I just didn't connect with anybody, which is sad because it's a very serious topic, and I also have lost my grandfather, and I remember going through that, but it just, like, it didn't do it for me. Like, the twist at the end, I was like, that's it? Like, okay. It's more realistic, but at the same time, like, you know me for liking realistic books. I thought I was gonna like this more than I did, unfortunately, but I don't think it's a bad book. However, that being said, I did find a contemporary that I really loved, and that is the exact opposite of Okay by Laura Stephen, which I mentioned, I think, in my birthday book haul, but I got around to reading it, and it was great. This is about a teenage girl named Izzy who likes sex, and there's nothing wrong with that, and she's a really cool person. And then she ends up hooking up with this guy who is important at the school, and pictures are taken and shared, and suddenly everyone is calling her a slut. Big scandal that hits the internet, and like sex photos. And I've read new adult that deals with revenge porn, and I really liked it. So when I heard about this one, I was on board, and I gave it a 5 stars. It was so good. I love the way that it went into different kinds of relationships with different people, and it went into like teenagers liking sex, and it went into like safe behaviors, and it went into like the political side of sex. I just thought it dealt with a lot of stuff really well, including friendship and family. So like overall, I'm very happy with this purchase. Good job, Laura Steven. And now, a sequel. I finally finished the Borderline series by Michelle Baker by reading Imposter Syndrome. This is a adult paranormal fantasy novel that deals with fairies in LA. Give it all to me. Just give it all. The main character is a double amputee who has borderline personality disorder, and it's this big war between fairies and the real world and the Beast Queen who comes in the second book. Oh man, what an interesting world, and what a gritty main character. This is the kind of book that does the unreliable narrator right. I liked Millie. Like, I can see where her brain is tricking her into being a bad person. I thought that was great. Mental illness is good representing, plus fairies, you know me. It was a very good ending to a really great series, so if you do like other books that are not YA and happen to also like fairies or paranormal stuff like me, pick this one up. And then a book that I just finished. Thank you, Raincoast, for sending me the advance copy. I read Merciful Crow by Margaret Owens, and I'm so glad that I did. This was bombastic. This was intricate, this was creepy, this was fast-paced, this was a really interesting world that focuses magic on like different cases of bird. They're not bird people, they're just like separated by different classes that are named after birds. And the main character is a crow, and they deal with death magic, but people don't like them, and so they're kind of like the beaten down caste, which, also quick side note, doesn't make any sense. Like, so there's a plague, and only crows are immune, so they're the ones that have to go to each town to like bury the dead. Why are you being mean to them? They could just leave you and like let your town burn. Like that's a plot hole that I'm not sure I understand. But like anyways, we have Fi, and she is the daughter of the Crow Chief, and whoops, we have to smuggle out a prince and his bodyguard, as you do. And they're super powerful, and oh my god, we're fighting things because the evil queen's taken over, but like bird case, but like teeth magic, but like normal magic. Really intense, powerful ending. Wow, I loved this debut. Like, if she keeps writing like this, I am definitely buying every one of her other books that comes out. And the inside artwork is just absolutely stunning. Like, in front of every chapter, there's this beautiful crow, and like, I want this tattooed on me. Speaking of crows, what's up with that is the Stormcrow by Kaylin Josephson, which I just finished the other day. Didn't like as much as Merciful Crow, but it was still good. I was not under the impression that there was multiple types of crows that could do multiple types of magic. Also, you can ride them. Yes, please, I can ride horses. I would like to ride crows. Can I up my game? So we basically have crows with elemental magic, and then we have a princess who's the only survivor after this big fire attack, and she has burn scars and PTSD, and then we have the evil prince from across the country whose mother is trying to overtake everything, and he's awful, but is he? Is he really? And actually that was one thing that I really enjoyed, because I thought that this was going to be like a hate-to-love relationship, and she sort of did that, but in a way I wasn't expecting. Yet another beautiful cover that I would sell the rest of my soul for to have on a shelf, not that there's that much left. And lastly is a book that was overhyped to death, and I was worried I wouldn't like it, but I was curious to pick it up anyways, and I gave a 5 out of 5 stars to the masterpiece of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This came out last year, and everyone and their mother was reading it, and everyone was fawning over how amazing this book was. Oh my god, favorite book ever. And I was like, I don't do I want to be a part of that? Not necessarily because I'm the hipster who like doesn't follow any like mainstream things, but also because it was just being so overhyped that I was like, it can't be that good. Like, can it? I was wrong. It was that good. And if you don't know what this is about for some reason, I don't know how that happened, but if you don't, this is about Monique, who is a junior reporter, and she ends up scoring a huge opportunity to interview Evelyn Hugo, who is a beautiful aging movie star who had her heyday in kind of like the 50s and 60s, and her life having 7 husbands, and everyone is very interested, but she's very reclusive and private. And what a beautiful story. I loved how everything was revealed. I loved all of the intricacies and like the behind the scenes of Hollywood and how that like really fucks with people's brains. I liked the voice enough that at the end, I cried, and I was like, I finished this at work, so I'm like sobbing quietly, like at my desk, trying not to smear my makeup, hoping that my boss doesn't walk by, trying to make it look like I'm still focused on the Excel spreadsheets that were in front of me. It was a time. So there you have it. There is a July wrap-up. My reading was all over the place this month. I, you know, did some listening, I did some reading, did some deep soul searching, did some crying. I feel like it was a good overall mix. Please leave a comment down below if you also read or enjoyed any of these other books. I know I have some like big name titles on there that people have a lot of feelings about, including myself, so just leave everything down below and we'll just have a grand old comment discussion. Yeah, woo! Very like wavy in this video, mostly because I just want to show off this amazing shawl that my friend got me for my birthday that has delightful floral skulls on it. If isn't that my aesthetic, I don't know what is. You know where to click to like the video, you know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!